it's Ale.
And this is Omar.
And we're here to talk about the pilot episode of Abbott Elementary.
It's episode 1.
Episode 1. Yeah, this is the episode that made me call you up and demand that we do a podcast.
Yeah, you did. I saw you live tweeting your reactions to it first, and then I got that text message, and you were like, "We're doing it somehow, some way."
Yes.
And I was like, "You are so right. We are," and here we are.
There's just so much in this show.
Yeah, there's so much good stuff.
There's so much great stuff in the show, and you can't fit it all in a tweet.
Yeah, no. I saw like the trailers for this show like pop up on my timeline, and I was excited for it, and I wasn't sure like the reception it was gonna get. Mm-hmm. But then seeing it blow up on the internet and just seeing like a little bit of backlash, but mostly good support, I was like, we have to talk about it. Teachers are talking about it. It brings up important conversation. So,
well, I'm gonna be honest. My first reaction to it was like, "Oh, it's elementary school. I can't relate to it."
Oh yeah.
And then I saw an episode, and I was like, "Yes,
yeah, it's crazy." And I didn't even realize fully, I didn't make the connection or disconnect that it wasn't the same like grade level as what we teach, but because the problems are so spot on.
Yes.
Yeah.
It really is. Although we should say, or not me, I'm gonna say. In K-12 world, elementary school teachers have such a greater workload than anybody else because people think about workload in different ways, and I don't think they totally grasp it. Like in school world, you're like having a huge workload. It can either be that you have like a great number of total students. So like some high school teachers can have like 150, like 200 kids, right? But in elementary school, like the thing that makes it a huge workload is the number of preps.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, if they're self-contained, we see Janine and her colleagues, they are the science teacher, the reading teacher, the social teacher, all this stuff. And so it's, like, you don't have as many students, but you, full respect to all elementary school just for the number of preps that they do. Okay, so this first episode, this is the rug episode, right?
Yes, the rug, where they have a kid pee on the rug and try to replace it.
Yes. And it's where we meet all of these characters. Mm-hmm.
So let's go by the list so that we can refresh ourselves. So
yes. So Janine Teagues.
Yes, she is a new teacher, but she's been there for a year, right?
Yeah, I can't remember, but it's not her first year.
Right. No, but she's still a new teacher.
Which I guess like you can't even do a show about the first year because it's just like
it's pure chaos.
It's just pure chaos. It's like chaos and crying and like a lot of like, is this how it's supposed to be?
Right? Yeah, definitely. I mean, just me just this year basically,
like a fog. Well, okay, but you were like first was peak pandemic.
Yeah,
it was peak pandemic.
January till June because we had that super long school year of 2020.
So this is like your first and a half year.
Yes, first and a half year. Mm-hmm.
It's full respect to you, sir. Full respect to you. Yeah. Because you're knocking it out of the park.
And we're still here, so it's going all right.
No, we're still here. Okay, so that's Janine, and then Janine has a new teacher buddy, or I guess we keep saying new, but like early career. Right. She's an early career buddy, and he is the middle school teacher.
Yes, Jacob,
which Jacob's like the well-meaning white guy.
Yes.
Who does a pretty good job, but I think like his significance in like, oh, I'm watching a show that is going to be different than other shows is that in any other depiction he would be like the hero savior teacher,
right?
Like that he would be the Jacob story of how I inspired all of these children,
these kids.
Yes, and in this one it has a much more true to life
definitely,
of like Jacob, bless him, is very well meaning and stuff, but he's not saving anybody, he's just learning like everybody else, but that definitely to me flagged a sort of like sit up in my chair of like, we're not watching Dangerous Minds here, right? This is not I've always thought that it's incredibly dysfunctional that America has a literal genre of like inspirational teacher.
Yeah, that makes it seem like they have to just be saviors and save everything.
Exactly. Okay, so that's Jacob. And then, who's your favorite one? Is it Barbara or is it Melissa?
My favorite one, I think, would be Barbara, yeah. I really like Barbara.
I mean, she's goals.
Yeah, she is literally goals.
She's just goals.
Yeah, no, I like even that part whenever she says, "Oh, where are your students?" And, "Oh, they're outside in a single file line."
Yeah.
Oh my God, like,
and then
what
they
power?
are.
Yeah, they actually are.
Yes, yeah. No, so she is the sort of veteran teacher, and she is like super well put together.
Right. She can, and I feel like she can at first be perceived as a bit cold.
Yep.
Right. And then because that's what I perceived her as initially.
She suffers no fools.
Right. Exactly.
She suffers no fools, but she has her act together. She just kind of exudes confidence.
Yes.
And then Ava Coleman,
the principal that.
Oh my God,
got her job.
Principal. Yeah, she's like both the funniest one and the one that I see the most reaction to online of her doing wacky stuff. And I guess like here we should just clarify as people who enjoy our jobs and want to keep our jobs that like I enjoy Ava as a character.
Same,
and I know
character.
Principals like her. That is not like our principal.
Yeah, that is not like our principal.
That is not like our principal.
Or like many principals that are out there working hard.
Yes.
And I think that was a little bit of the backlash that this show wasn't fair or realistic to administrators in actual schools, which.
Yes and no.
Yeah. And also I reject that backlash because there's no backlash towards The Office or any other shows like this that obviously are not super realistic, but it's a show, you know. Yeah.
I mean, she's definitely the comic relief of the show, and also like, but there are incompetent.
Yeah.
like all over the place,
right.
You know. So that's okay, love her.
Yes.
I mean, I hate her, but also I love her.
Hate her
and then one thing that I really enjoy is that the custodian is a character with a name and a distinct personality. So that's Mr. Johnson, who we see like kind of at one point teaching conspiracy theories to kids, whatever.
The Illuminati.
Yes. And I think that also is like a more true to life depiction of like, if you're, in our case, like we have middle schoolers, right? So if you're like an 11 and 12-year-old, yes, your teacher looms large as like a figure in like your day-to-day life,
right?
But also in a school building, like kids have interactions with other adults all the time, like other adults in the building
and
have
full on like build out relationships.
Yes, you know. I mean, and I'm not just saying this because like we had a great relationship with my custodian when I was a kid. But then he married my 6th grade teacher. Oh. Right? We always used to do that thing of like the teacher of like stuff, but then like
matchmaking.
Yeah, but they did.
And it actually happened in real life.
Yes. But yeah, no, I love that because, you know, some of my longest colleague relationships in buildings I have worked have been with the custodians. Yeah. You know, like I don't know. I don't have like actual numbers on this, but I would be willing to bet that the turnover rate is less, you know. And then Tariq.
Or Melissa.
Melissa!
Miss Melissa.
Yes!
The South Philly girl.
Yes!
Full and through, yes. She's awesome. She's also will not take your crap. She has her way. She knows it. She's good at her job, and she knows that she's good at it. But she's also a good team player also, I feel like.
Yes. I think that we kind of see in later episodes the friendship between her and Barbara.
Yes,
is beautiful.
It is very nice.
Yeah. No, but she's another one that kind of, you know, has a lot of competence and just sort of knows what she's doing. But also, like, I would never cross her.
Never. She has people. She knows people.
She knows people and stuff.
Yeah, and then we also have Gregory, the sub.
Okay, now I need to say something about Gregory. Yes. Because the internet has said this, but I agree with the internet. Okay, so one of the first things out of Gregory's mouth in his like faux interview is that he was like he says something about, well, you know, actually was looking for a principal job. Oh, because that's what I studied. Yeah, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so gendered to me. Of like people who have. Like, it is a profession that is mostly women on the front lines, and then the leadership skews male. Right? So there's just, like, that is such a thing of, like, dude who is taught 5 seconds, but then is now wants to be, like, the boss of everybody. And in this instance, like, how could you have studied to be a principal if you're the substitute teacher you've never taught? Yeah. So that's, like, the one where I'm like, no, Abbott, you cannot actually... like, that's not how principal certification works. Right. But in every other way, he's just a delight.
Yeah. And he's a character that I relate to also because it's his first time in a classroom.
Yes.
Or in an actual full-on classroom.
Well, and he's the one that I think, like, in this pilot episode has the most, like Janine is full-on passionate about teaching and knows that she wants to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. And, like, you don't get that sense from Gregory.
There's still that question.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And I think that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people, is that, like, the media does paint it as, like, you know, it's a calling, it's a this, is that, you know, stuff. But, you know, it's also a job, which some people start and discover that, like, they love, and they, you know, it's a vocation. It becomes a vocation for them. But I don't think that everybody, like, comes, you know, fully sprung from the head of Zeus, fully developed, that, like, this is necessarily, mm-hmm. you know, something that they are gonna, like, devote their lives to.
Right. And it's good that you bring that up, because it's something that I noticed they kind of end the episode on, is little conversations between Gregory mm-hmm. and Janine, whether he's gonna stay or go.
Exactly.
So I think that's a good point. Yeah.
But he has really good raw material. Okay, but he and Janine, the way they meet is, like, probably one of the funniest things.
Yeah, in the restroom.
In the restroom.
In that scenario, I was just, like, flashback to so many uncomfortable moments with little kids where it's like, I don't know what to do right now.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes. So they meet each other when he's taking a kid to the restroom to change their pants, I think. And then she's taking kids to the restroom because they have, like, thrown up.
Right.
You know.
Mm-hmm. And there's a toilet that.
Yes, and there's, like, a toilet and stuff. And I think, like, that's something that is, like, elementary school more that, like, in middle school is, like, bathroom is an adults. There are no adults in the bathrooms. Mm-hmm. But, like, yeah, no, there are many instances in which you find yourself in I would imagine, like, a lot more in an elementary school of, like, this is the sort of thing, like, a parent would do. And then, you know, mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's awkward to meet your new colleague when you're
in the restroom.
In the restroom,
and you're holding a kid's pants.
Yes, yes, that was really funny. So this episode is about the rug, but it's really about how Janine wants to solve things that other people have become conditioned to, right?
Which is, I believe, a similar story that all new teachers face. And definitely one that I faced. Because
like, you know, that what you were saying about Barbara, that she seems cold. She's not nice, mm-hmm. right? Like, at first, she is not warm. She's not welcoming, whatever. But she's also, like, why would you emotionally invest in a new colleague when you know that they're not going to stay? And so, like, you feel that from her. Like, she has a lot of energy for her students. And, like, these are not students. These mm-hmm. are adults. And she's been burned, you know. Like, I don't know. I get that sense. Yeah. And then, you know, Janine's not the only person that cares about things. But Omar, the deal with the money was so spot on.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember what happened with the money?
That what the principal did with it?
Yes.
Yes. She made herself the big sign.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, one of my big bugaboos in public education is that you have stuff like the rug, right? Yeah. And the whole time I'm just yelling at the screen to Janine, like, stop buying stuff, right?
Right.
Like, stop buying stuff as a new teacher. You know, like, force the district to buy stuff for your room.
Right.
And then you see that what happens is that she does get the district to give the money, and then the money is, like, spent on this completely different thing. And I'm like, yeah, that is extremely relatable. Yeah. Not having, like, a principal that spends stuff on stupid stuff, but, like, seeing a need, and then you advocate, you do this stuff, mm-hmm. and then, like, the money is there, it's spent not in that, and then you end up getting frustrated. You're like, fine,
I'll buy it myself.
I'll just buy it myself.
Yeah.
What'd you think about the rug? You said that was, like, relatable to you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, the rug, I like how she even gave it a metaphor. It's like a Xanax for little kids, right? Like, even the small things that people might not necessarily think are that important, because, mm-hmm. like, I don't work at an elementary school, so whenever the rug got peed on, I didn't seem that big of a deal to me at first, right? Mm-hmm. But then she explains it, and it's like, the rug is so important, you know. And then towards the end, you see them all huddled up watching a kid's nap on the floor, I believe, and it's because the rug isn't there, right? And it's just it's these small things that most people don't think about, but they're so crucial, so important.
Well, what happened to you this week with the rocks?
So with the rocks, so this week I had a mineral lab, right, where I had my sixth graders start identifying minerals based on the color, the luster, etc. And by the end of the period, or by the end of the day, I had like 6 rocks missing. And it was one of the first labs that we have done. You know, we just got out of a pandemic. They haven't been able to do hands-on stuff that much. They've been virtual, so I was excited to have this for them. And then 6 rocks ended up missing, which just ruins it for next year and on, right? Yeah. Which is very frustrating.
It's very frustrating, but I think that it taps into something that exists, like, you know, when the show is bringing up this, like, you're new, you want to do stuff, whatever, like, the kind of stuff that beats you down is, like, that kind of stuff, right? Is, you know, they did have rugs in the room. The kids peed on them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it is, like, both normal that, like, in the course of just being out of school, like, kids use stuff and sometimes break stuff or stuff goes missing or stuff, whatever. Like, that is both normal that would happen. You know, like, you and I have, like, 100 students.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff just happens. But it also is, like, but stuff takes on significance to us because it is so hard to get it, and then you know it's going to have to last you for a very long time.
And almost impossible to replace. Yes.
Yeah. Like, I have a set of, when you first told me about the rocks, I was just immediately thinking how I have a set of novels in my class that has, one of them has your name in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
From like...
Yeah, from when you were in the 7th grade. Yeah. And I still teach from that set of books.
Crazy.
And it is not going to be replaced. Yeah. You know? And so, yeah, it's frustrating. It's just frustrating, you know? But that rug does become symbolic of, like, Janine kind of shows by the end of the episode that, you know, it's coming from this really good place in her heart. Like you're talking about, that she wants the rug not for, like, to Instagram cutesy pie her classroom because she sees this need, and so then her colleagues step up. Right. And I thought that was really sweet. I thought that was really sweet because it's kind of them acknowledging, like, oh, okay, you know, you are going to stick around. You are, like, a colleague to invest in. Right. We're going to figure this out. And, of course, like, Melissa knows somebody. Right.
Melissa knows somebody. And they got the rug from some random sports team. Which I thought was so funny. And realistic. Like, that's what we do. We make things... We figure out ways to make it happen.
You figure out ways to make it happen. You problem solve. You do all this stuff. But I was just thinking, like, dang... there are so many things I've had in my classroom over the years that are like that rug. And then... if something happens to those things, it's just Hulk rage. I'm like, you have no idea how hard it was to get, like, the rug or the rocks or the thing or whatever. Yeah. Like you're saying, like, it's been in a pandemic. It's like the first lab we've done with, like, actual projects.
And I forget that they don't know those things, right?
They don't know those things. They're, you know, but to outside eyes, they're like, well, it's just, you know, it's like... It's
a rock. Go get one outside.
Right? Yeah.
So which in this episode, which character do you relate to the most, or which do you feel like you align with the most?
Woo! That's such a hard question, you know, because, like, I mean, a conversation that you and I have had a couple of times is, like, you always think of yourself as, like, young, even when you're not. Like, there's not, like, it's like anybody ever, like, hands you, like, slides a little slip of paper, right? You know? So, like, a big part of me relates to Janine and that feeling of, like, Janine is somebody who really deeply cares about things, and I am somebody who deeply cares about things, right? And, like, that's not something that I ever want to lose in my career. But, you know, I see some of myself in Melissa. I see some of myself in Barbara. I mean, I guess, like, I aspire to be Barbara, but there's, you know, hopefully I would never be that snarky with a brand new teacher. Yeah. And I don't know if I, you know, could have the kids lined up in the hall and then they would, you know, if I have any of us reached this level
Barbara status,
Barbara status, you know, How about you?
I mean, I like you. I feel like it's a mix. I would say it is 40% Janine, which is the I am also super passionate about things, and I am new. Especially the part where Janine sees so many problems and tries to fix, or is asking herself why is not fixed. You know, that's me.
Yes.
That's me right now.
Yes.
I'm also 40% Gregory, because he is a new sub and he is just new to the environment. He's trying to figure things out. I do know that I like education, and I do know that I like teaching, and I am going to stay. So that's the Janine part. And so Janine 40, Gregory 40, the 10% is Barb. And the only 10% about Barb that I apply to myself is that she has her boundaries set when it comes to her job, and that's what I'm working on. Because,
you are good at that.
Yeah, because I do know that teachers burn out, and that there is this, this thing that happens where you eventually get burned out. So I'm trying to protect that because I do like the job. So that's a 10% Barb.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it is at the end of the season.
Yeah, we will see.
Who we all relate to.
Their journey. Yeah, that'd be interesting to compare.
That principal though, just like she both cracks me up, but I have to see her as like almost a science fiction character because if I think about her too much, but she's funny.
Another part that I really, really liked and kind of pulled on my heart a little bit was towards the end after Principal Ava kind of puts Janine on the spot, and then they go out in the hallway, and then it's Barbara, Gregory, Melissa, and Janine, and they're observing the student that's sleeping.
Wait, is this the episode where she is mean to her in the library?
Yes. Yeah.
Omar!
Because she sent the email to the superintendent, and it bounced back to Ava. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! No, we do have to talk about that.
Yeah.
That is why teacher contracts are so convoluted, is like basically to try and keep administrators from like retaliating in those ways against teachers, and like, ooh.
Yeah.
There's it's the internal politics of schools. Like you asked the wrong person, or you jumped.
That is definitely something.
And stuff of like there are all of these unwritten rules in school culture of like who you're supposed to ask to get what thing done.
Yes,
then you ask the wrong person, and now there's retribution.
Yeah, I definitely have felt that because like you said, I started mid-pandemic, so the formal training was just put into a classroom because everyone else was doing the best they could that day. So I didn't know a lot of the answers to who do I ask for this or who do I ask for that. Now everyone at our school is very kind and was very kind to me. I didn't get any retribution on that. But yeah, that's definitely a thing. But I have definitely
worked at other schools where like there is vindictiveness.
Really?
Like you are gonna get it because you said or did something that was not in the chain of command.
Right.
But it's not a chain of command that is published.
Yeah. Right. So you have to kind of figure it out.
Right. And in this instance, like, well, it is a chain of command. There's the principal and then there's the school district. But yeah, no, that moment where Melissa and Barbara are like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That
email. That email is going to kick back to, I don't know, Ava. Yeah, no, that was a thing. And like Ava has a mean streak to her.
Yeah. She does.
But that absolutely is a thing. And I don't think that's unique to like schools as a workplace.
Oh no, yeah.
But awkward singling out. But it is like in terms of the narrative, like that is a turning point where some of the other teachers have been like impatient with or like picking on Janine, and then they realize like, well, hold on, it's mean to pick on Janine because like Janine is just trying to. She's just trying. She's trying to help the kids. And I don't know. I just think that like in education, there's so much space for disagreement on how we're going to do this or that, the stuff. But the thing that is really centering is like people who are motivated because they want better outcomes and things for their students.
Yeah.
And like people who are motivated because they want better outcomes and things for themselves.
Yeah.
You know? And like, you know, I think that the other teachers kind of recognize that about Janine.
Right. Yes. And I think that's when it clicked, and they saw that she was doing this for the students, not necessarily for just for herself, for her career, and they had her back, and they were like, "We're gonna go check on her."
Exactly.
Yeah, and then that's when they meet up in the hallway. They huddle and they see the student, which I think I know has happened with my grade level team so many times, and it just seemed like, I'm sure it happens all the time, like where you just huddle and it's like, at the end of the day, you know, the student's issues is the main priority, and they were focusing on that student and coming up with solutions for it, and finally saying like, oh, I have a guy, like I'll get us a rug, and like the teachers themselves, like that is what keeps it going.
Yes.
And I think that was a good part of the episode, which kind of shines a light on, yes, we have all these issues and we struggle with it, but at the end of the day, we do what we have to do to get these students what they need.
Yeah. But that scene in the library was hard to watch. Yeah. You know, because she gets singled out and demeaned. I think a lot of people in education have stories
about things like that.
Yeah, about things like that.
Being called out.
Well, and you know, we get things done, we problem solve, we take on these multiple roles, and you know, so on and so forth. But there are also people in the profession that are like in the profession for not great reasons. You know, like I always think like, if your personality is that you absolutely have to be the, you know, like the shark, you know, and just as a maybe teaching in a middle school is like not the best fit, you know, and it is annoying when people come along and act as though they're the only person who has ever identified a problem or, you know, this stuff. And I think that's, because it does feed into the, like, you know, martyr teacher savior, you know, only I can, you know, fix this thing or this stuff, but like that's not where she's coming from. She really is just trying to like help her students, you know, with the place that they need to take a nap, to feel comfortable in her room, whatever. But yeah, no, that was a really important scene.
Yes.
Woo! I blocked it out.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
The trauma that it brought back.
Yes. I guess like one last thought is, like I wonder how much, or I guess like this show is such a love letter to Philly.
Yes.
To like Philadelphia, you know, and I love that. But I wonder like how much of that is going to be incorporated into the show. I wonder like how some stuff would look in Texas where we are.
Right.
I really am just very interested in how like Gregory especially is going to develop.
Right.
And you know, the fact that it is a majority Black school with a majority Black faculty, we could spend like an entire podcast talking about that, because it is both like really wonderful.
Yes.
You know, like it's wonderful to have the faculty reflect the community that they're working on.
Yeah.
You know, because I think like something that is important for you, or not important, but like something that is definitely a part of both your and my experience, is that we live and work in the community that we teach, you know, and it's nice to see that in a show. But it also is just gives me a deep sigh of like, our schools are so segregated.
Yeah.
Like our schools are so segregated across the US, you know? And so it like the show thus far has been pretty apolitical. But like one of the first thoughts that I had, even when I just saw a trailer, was, you know, I was at a school board meeting in the spring where one of the shouting points for like all of these anti-CRT people was that the kids are colorblind and the teachers are introducing race, right? And when I see like this show, which is not making any kind of political statements or whatever, but is reflective of like a lot of schools in the U.S., I'm thinking like, yeah, all of those kids know that they're Black.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like this idea that is in the public right now, the school that people seem to have in their imaginations doesn't look like schools. Like most American schools.
Right.
I think like a lot of American schools look like Abbott.
Yeah.
Right? And like if you took some of those anti-CRT really kind of inflammatory rhetoric about, oh, the teachers are injecting this and the teachers have this agenda and like the kids are colorblind, whatever. And then you imagine that in like Abbott Elementary and you imagine like, those kids know that they're Black.
Right.
That's not a topic that kids are unaware of or that they live in a vacuum about or, all kinds of stuff. So I think that I wonder if the show, because the show hadn't talked about the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It is a show that is like fun and relatable, but it is very much like a pre-pandemic fantasy world.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that is a show in which like 2020 never happened. So I guess I'm curious to know like whether they'll touch on that at all, the pandemic, or whether they'll like have anything to say about the culture wars that we're experiencing, like, anti-CRT. But I think that it is really positive and good for the American public to like see this show.
Definitely.
That just like, yeah, that's what schools look like. I'm crazy enthused about this season.
I am too. I'm so excited to see where they go and like all the different stories. And I see people giving their 2 cents about where they think the show should go or what topics they think should be covered. So I'm just excited to see what Quinta does because it's been awesome so far.
I don't even want it to have the pandemic in it.
Yeah, me either. Keep that away from my TV.
Keep that. I'm
good without it.
I'm totally good without.
Maybe
that.
in like 5 years we can revisit.
It's too soon.
Yeah, too soon.
I don't need to see. I don't. Yeah, my just gut reaction is like it's so fun to see something that is relatable to what we're living, but not like
right
actually what we're living right now, because you wouldn't be able to see anybody's face.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the reality that I'm living in right now.
Where we can't, where we run into students we taught last year and we can't recognize them because we couldn't see their faces.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's so funny, like the number of kids that I recognize from their voice. Also because we teach in a middle school, so from one year to another, you can like shoot up a foot.
Yeah.
Like a different haircut.
No, totally
like,
different.
And then like they talk and I'm like, oh,
yeah, that's
it's you. All right, well, this is a good episode.
Yeah.
We'll talk next time.
Yeah, see you next time.
All right.